No racist, no fascist, all power to the masses. No racist, no fascist, all power to the masses.
Welcome to 2020 and the return of communism. You would think by now that with the entire history of communism and its oppression, its killing all throughout the 20th century, that by the 21st century, by the year 2020, we wouldn't be having people advocating communism anymore. Unfortunately, that's not true. We've done a pretty good job of keeping Nazis at bay. Not many people are out there in mainstream publications advocating to bring back National Socialism, but communism never seems to die. And right now we've got a column in Maclean's, Canada's premier news magazine, advocating communism and the Communist Manifesto. We've got a column in The Nation advocating for the end of private property to fight climate change. And in the United States, a poll of various generations showing that more than a third of millennials have a favorable view of communism.
Virtually everywhere socialism or communism has been tried, it has produced suffering, corruption, and decay.
What on earth is going on? In some ways, I'm not overly surprised. I've been covering protests literally across the country for years, and there's always communist flags that show up. Last May Day, on the front lawn of Queen's Park, Ontario's legislature, people showed up with communist flags and a fake guillotine with a sign saying, "May history repeat itself, chop, chop." Yeah, advocating a return of the killing fields. And let's face it, communism, beyond being an evil ideology, is a murderous one. The numbers range depending on who you're listening to. Some as high as 65 million dead in communist China under Mao, some as high as 20 million under Stalin. We do know that the United Nations says 7 to 10 million people died just in Ukraine due to Stalin's policies, what led to what's known as the Holodomor. So why are we embracing an ideology that has terms like the killing fields in Cambodia attached to it? It doesn't make sense to me at all. And yet here we have the column I was talking about in Maclean's, and a writer named Andre Demois, who's saying that people should embrace the Communist Manifesto. Quote, "I suggested they consider reading through the Communist Manifesto to see if any passages regarding exploitation leaped out." That's what he told some environmental activists looking for good books. Or what about the headline in The Nation saying an end to private property? No, bad idea. That just is simply an extension of communism. But really disturbing is this YouGov poll. This is a poll that's been done by the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation in the United States for the last 3 years. And you can see in the poll right here, 7% of baby boomers have a favorable view of communism, 36% of millennials. This is a generational thing, and I think it comes down to two things. One, the younger generation, millennials, Generation Z, they were not around to witness the horrors of communism, the Iron Curtain, the oppression. It's still there in China, it's still there in Cuba, but you kind of glance past it. There's also the fact that our education system is failing. Like I said off the top, we've done a good job at making sure that people know that Nazism should not be replicated, should not be brought back. In 2020, let's try doing the same when it comes to communism. Let me know what you think. Comment down below, share this on Facebook and Twitter, and spread the word.